How many of them ride bicycles?
Well, actually, none of them do. You know, I'm surprised. When I was a kid, it was the first thing I could.
Exactly.
Couldn't wait to get on. But my kids are never been on a bike. I mean, outside of a little tricycle, but they've never been interested. In fact, I was quite surprised with my son. I mean, he just never really got interested in bicycles.
We got to change that. And Rich just popped in from the recording booth. He wants to ask a question.
I've got a question for you. How about RVs, motor coaches, motor homes? I understand that normally they're a lot less to insure for what they are because the accident rate is low. There are some companies that specialize, but what does Farmers do with that?
Farmers has great rates. That is a fabulous thank you question because Farmers has great rates on those types of vehicles. And you are right. I'm not saying anything, but mature people like Bev and I, except for the quad. Let's go past that. They know that traditionally it's older drivers, et cetera, but you're right. Those are very affordable. I'm very frustrated when I see somebody have a beautiful one uninsured because they didn't know they could insure it for a couple $100 a year.
Okay, wait a minute. I just got a signal here.
Yeah, I got to just bug right in right now.
Okay.
Okay, we've got someone who's just an average Joe that's calling. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, we've got the one, the only, the Andre Fischer, who's aimed to talk to you and Steve. So here he is.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, Bev. How are you?
I'm doing good, and we got your sidekick, Steve, with us today.
How you doing, Andre?
I'm doing fine, Steve.
Fantastic. I got a real quick question because I was dying to know this. I know you guys performed last night with Sue Ann Carwell, and, I want to know how that show went because I know when you guys are out at the Morongo, it's just an awesome performance. You got to let us in. I know we're going to go on to some other subjects, but I need to know this real quick.
Well, first of all, with some pretty great musicians, and basically a lot of the Minneapolis musicians here, folks who played with Prince and Alexander O'Neill and The Time, they were all at the occasion last night, and we had a good time. It was musicians playing to musicians as well as a regular audience, and it was a good time. We had a great time.
Awesome. I know Bev has some important things. She's going to tell everybody a little bit about who Andre Fischer is. Of course, I know who you are. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just back and forth with Bev here. Well, for those that are not familiar with Andre Fischer, shame on you, first of all.
Yes.
Because this man is an awesome person as a personal friend as well as a great performer. He goes all the way back to Shaka Khan.
I know.
Of course, he wrote a lot of that music. I mean, I'm going to let him elaborate on that. I mean, I've had the pleasure of taking my wife to your show with the Curtis Mayfield Legacy, and that was just off the hook. I had been trying to get her out there for quite a while, and so she finally said yes, and let me tell you, she was so pleased. In fact, at her work, she's been passing out the tickets, helping promote this event's coming up on Friday, March the 1st, and let me tell everybody, if you want to see a show as closest to Curtis Mayfield, this will be the show you want to go see. Andre, he has just quite so many accomplishments. Multi-Grammy award winning, many platinum albums, gold albums. I mean, the list goes on and on. If you get a chance, look him up on the website and look up Andre Fischer because he's definitely quite a few accomplishments. I'm going to turn it over to Bev. Go ahead, Bev.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Now, we're going to be talking to... You still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, very good. I want to say this to you and everybody in the nation. The conversation we had the other day on the phone, thank you very much. It was one of the nicest talks. You were telling me about him, Steve, and,
yes.
And you're right. And when I was going through your bio here, and 25 golden albums, I went, holy Toledo. And
well, I stopped counting because basically, just let me say one thing. First of all, it's one thing if someone calls you and engages you. In other words, someone calls to hire me to either play or to be a producer. But the reason why I'm proud of all those awards has nothing to do with the award itself. It's the fact that I'm the one who made the call. So, in other words, people didn't engage me. I convinced them that I had something that was worthwhile.
Uh-huh.
And that's always been a task of a musician or people who are right-brained. And that's, we're different than folks standing with a resume waiting to be hired. In essence, I always had to convince other people that what I had was valid because for some reason I was always talking too creatively. It didn't seem grounded in 9-to-5 terminology or values.
Now, excuse me, I want to break in for a minute. Could you please speak up a little bit?
Sure.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I have these little pod phones on, only because I don't want to glow in the dark. I'm on my cell phone.
Oh, no, glow in the dark, darling. Have some fun.
You'll be the glowing performer.
Yes. And just think, if you have them on, you'll never stub your toe when you're walking around.
Yeah, I know. but what I was trying to say is basically all those awards did was let me know I was on the right track.
Yes, go on.
Well, you know, in this society, things are usually based upon what's the value of the day. In other words, what kind of car you drive, or your house, or your cash, or you know, it's like people think democracy is the ability to buy something. It's not. You know, it's another thing having to do with people who are creatively minded. That in our school system, at least, you know, for the past 50 years, we've always been geared to prepare ourselves to go to work, and to be into the arts seemed like something. Not that it was frivolous, but it was always set apart from everyday work world, where the creativity in people has to be integrated in what they do daily. It can't be something you do separately. And to combine both hemispheres, the right and the left brain, is a wonderful thing, especially, you know, to get balance. In other words, I know music business as well as I know the ability to make a record and write a song, where a lot of people consider musicians not wise in any other areas other than music. And the old school musicians weren't raised that way. You know, my uncle has a master's degree in music, but he's also into history and physics and all kinds of other things. Same with my dad. So I always tell people that music is just one side of being well-rounded, and another piece of arsenal in your utility belt to be a communicator. No, it's not. You know, I wasn't taught music to make money. I was taught music to make me a better person. In other words, that with studying philosophy and the world and being humane was supposed to make me this better person. So, you know, that's what basically it was for, at least in my family.
You know, I'm really glad to hear that. And everybody probably asks you this, and I'm going to be one of the weird people that have to ask you this, okay? Just because.
Okay.
With all the albums that you have done through the years, are there certain ones that really stay with you, like kind of the best of the best, or what? Like when you did Natalie Cole there, and Pretty Woman, and then also the soundtrack for Unforgettable, Take a Look, and Christmas. Out of all of these, and then Tony Bennett and all of them, is there any one or two or three that really sticks to you?
Yeah, well, either it's a body of work, you know, or it's the individual pieces off of multiple selections. And there's a Nina Simone tune I like that I did. There's also a Milt Jackson, who's the vibra harpist with the Modern Jazz Quartet. There's a song called Reverence and Compassion off of his album on Quest Records that I did. That it's only a bass and vibes one, not overly orchestrated or overly arranged. It's just very poignant. I mean, those things are the things that please me. And also I did a tune called Only for One Night and a song called Piano in the Dark on Brenda Russell. And I when I listen to it today, it still sounds good. And when things sound good, it's not that I have my signature on it, because a good producer actually becomes the project. In other words, the point is all of the elements to make one thing. It's not me. So the only way I can do a good job is I have to put me away.
And where do you put yourself when you put yourself away?
Well, it's something I learned a long time ago. I fought it at first when I was a teenager. I fought it, and it's called being in the service of others.
Right.
And, when I was younger, it was like, when your mom tells you to watch your brother and sister or go take something to your grandmother who's not feeling well, it's like, oh, do I have to go do that?
Uh-huh.
And then after a while, I found that when I put myself into it, that I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something about it that gave me purpose. So, the only problem is as you get older, sometimes you do so well on dealing with other people's things that you tend to neglect your own.
Isn't that the truth?
That's the only danger.
Yes. And I want to break in real quick, and Steve is going to pop in. But before we do that, Steve, do you want to give the phone number, or do you want me to give the phone number?
Sure.
Let's do the phone number.
Let's do the phone number. Yeah.
Together. All right. You are hearing this fantastic interview that we are doing with Mr. Fischer. And on Friday, March 1 is dun-da-dun-da-dun.
Okay, it's the Curtis Mayfield Legacy. Yeah, and the one and only Andre Fischer's All-Stars. Now, let me tell you, this man has put together some performers, some musicians that are just out of this world. I've been to quite a few of his shows, and let me tell you, every time it's even better than the last. And not to say that the one before wasn't all that, but you know what? It just gets better because I'm really getting an opportunity to listen to a lot of different music, a lot of different styles. I mean, he's did the Chaka sound. I mean, he's just amazing. And let me tell you, the people that go out there get a real show. It's not just these guys that are, lip syncing to some soundtracks like we've seen lately.
Yeah,
and I won't mention who,
somewhere
but
on a game. Yeah.
But the thing is, you got some true musicians, and the beauty of it is that I've had the opportunity, through Bruce McClure, executive director at the Morongo Casino. He's allowed me to be a part of his big operation there, and in a small part, but I love where I'm at, and I've gotten to know these artists, and everybody's just beautiful people. They're very kind, they're warm, they're embracing, and so when you get that, you see that on stage too. That's the difference. You don't have some people up there that are too big for their britches. They're performing to the people. And that's where the true talent lies. And I enjoy every moment of it. We have some tickets here to give away, and I encourage everybody to call. And what's the number here, Ben?
And the call-in number is 888-909-1050. That number again is 888-909-1050. The phone lines are open. Rob, our best board up, he's there and he's waiting for the calls. So if you all would like some free tickets for this grand event, yes, I and Steve and some of our friends from KCAA is going to be there. And I'm not going to tell you who from KC. You're going to have to come and be surprised. And it's going to be a fantastic night. And again, it's Friday, March 1, and the doors open up at 9 p.m. Yes, and you must be 21 or over. Barbara, are you 21 yet?
Not yet.
I'm not either. Do you think we could fib and get in?
Yeah, I can lie.
Okay.
I think you could do it. You just got to dress a little older,
Oh.
Okay.
That's what it is, because, you girls look too young.
Yes. Thank you, Steve.
I want Andre Fischer to do me a big, big favor, Andre. If you can tell us this lineup of artists that you have coming on, and these great musicians, because you always surprise me with somebody different, somebody new. Can you tell everybody, because all these musicians are just amazing?
Well, I either steal them or get them in between, but most of these musicians have been with me for a minute. The first one would be Craig McMullen, who's the original guitarist with Curtis Mayfield, and the guitarist that you hear on Superfly and Freddie's Dead and all of the records when Curtis went solo. Matter of fact, Craig and myself, I'm sorry to say, are the only two remaining members of that aggregation. Everyone else has passed on, and not from old age.